Good morning and welcome to 2025. This is my first video of the year. We're starting to get things moving at the farm again. It's been a really long winter, it feels like. We've been here quite a bit in the last few weeks cleaning things up, but nothing really felt worth filming, so I didn't film anything. And even now, it just feels like a little dark and dreary here. This is the time of year where from a glance, it doesn't look like anything's happening. But when you get up really close, you can see lots of little things kind of poking out of the ground and things budding to life. So I thought I would give you guys a tour today just to show you where we're at. And then Jay and I have a couple of projects to do. We got one of those really cheap greenhouses from Vevor, and we're going to try to reinforce it with some lumber today. So Jay and I are doing a building project together, which should be fun. And what else do we have to do? We're probably going to plant some shrubs. So we have these little guys here. I'll turn you around so you can see. So we have these little spruce babies. Some of them are quite tiny. Can't really see them very well. That Jay went and dug up around the property line yesterday. Some of them are a bit bigger in there. Cuties. So Jay said he has about 10 or 12 little babes in there. So he just went around the property line and kind of dug up little babes that he found. And we're probably gonna dig up a few more. We've also got some saplings. We've got some tamarack and we've got some black elderberry little baby saplings that we're going to plant. So if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that this farm gets very, very windy. So building up some windbreaks is something that we've been wanting to do for a while. We started with this little hedgerow here 2 years ago. So back in 2023, we planted almost everything. There's like lots of hydrangea, lots of lilac in here, mostly ornamental stuff, but it's not growing very quickly. Like some of this stuff will eventually grow to be, 10, 12 feet tall. Some of them are more like 6 feet tall, but they're taking a while. So I had to get some fast growing stuff to help just fill things in more quickly. And then up at the top of the peony patch, which is back here. Yeah, back here somewhere. Peony patch. That gets a lot of wind. Jay and I had to go through and fix all of the fabric that got blown up again this year. It wasn't as bad as last year. We put down a lot more stakes. We put a bunch of sandbags, but inevitably the wind still got under and moved a bunch of stuff around. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of where things are sitting right now, and then I will let you guys watch our time lapse of the couple of projects that we have going on today. So this is the annual patch. Last year we built it up a little bit because we still had quite a few low spots. We did put in the tile drain at the bottom of this field, which should help, but we had extra dirt that came up, so we decided to put some in here. It came up from when we did the driveway. There was a lot of digging that happened. So we added some here, and we just removed the tarp yesterday or 2 days ago to let this start to dry out a bit. So this is gonna have to get tilled. We're gonna need to add compost and get this ready for our annuals. So you can see our shrub patch. This is what I mean by fabric getting blown around. This guy got lifted up. Most of the shrub patch fabric stayed down, but quite a bit of it moved. Like this one just kind of got folded in half. So we have to go through and fix all of that. But you can see some of the shrubs are starting to come to life. This is spirea. And this is budding up really, really nicely. We had this 2 years ago, but then we moved it last spring. Weren't sure how well it was going to do, but it seems pretty happy. We've got some very tiny little lilacs. Planted these last year. They were about 5 inches tall. They're getting taller, but we have like a lot of weeding to do in here, as you can see. It all looks like grass. The other thing that's coming up really nicely is our false spirea. So we've already got lots of greening out happening on these guys. Still have a few dried flowers left over from last year. So one of the parts of the farm that's actually exciting right now is the new garden bed in front of the tool shed. Last year we transplanted all of our irises out here, and we planted a bunch of daffodil bulbs, which are now flowering. So I'll show you guys those up close. So as you can see, all of our fabric kind of lifted, and I've just stuck it over there so that it wouldn't blow over. This little line of fabric managed to last the whole winter, but the rest of the fabric lifted up with the wind. So we just kind of piled it up, put a tire on top of it so that it wouldn't cause any damage. And so you can see that between all of our little irises, there's already grass growing. So the weed issues have begun. We will come in here and mulch, because I think the tarp and the fabric just isn't going to work. I really hoped it would. But I was worried about these guys because we had a lot of issues over the winter, you know, and these guys kind of kept coming up. I don't know if it was like a frost freeze thing or what, but I had to replant so many of these guys. So whether it was the fabric lifting them up, or if it was animals coming around and digging them up, or it was a frost freeze thing, they just kept coming out of the ground. So I was very worried, but as you can see, we've got new growth on everybody. And it's pretty muddy and wet here, so I was especially worried about, you know, rotting happening because of that. But they seem to be holding up. I've added some sand, you can't really see now, but I added some sand just around the base of some of them, because I found because the clay was, or because the soil is very clay heavy, once it started drying, it kind of clumped up and it wasn't really surrounding the base of the roots well. I had put compost and stuff in there, but I thought maybe adding some sand would just have another layer of something to just sink in underneath and fill in those empty gaps. And then over here we've got our daffodils coming up. So these guys are so pretty. This is the white lion variety. They're so stinking pretty. They've just started to come up, and then we've got the cum laude, which has been coming up now for a couple of weeks. There's a few more back here. This was the row where we kind of got to the end of the fall and needed to get bulbs in the ground quickly and just said, forget about it. We stopped planting in fabric. We just dug a trench and threw the bulbs in and buried them and said, let's hope for the best. So we've got some cum laude here. And then we've got another variety. This is the other peach one, and the name is escaping me right now. We have one that's popped up early, but I feel like this isn't the typical shape that we're going to be seeing for these guys. So I'm excited to see more of them start to come up, because I feel like it was a little bit more, well, these are white lion, you can see the yellow in them. I feel like they were just a little bit more ruffled, kind of like the white lions were with their peachy centers. So we'll see with those guys. Then over by the shed, I've got some Echebeckia. This is a Summerina Glow Echebeckia. It's a new breed, new variety that we've been hardening off here, and it's looking awesome. It's going to be going into the ground very, very soon. And I've also got some dianthus, not dianthus, it is foxglove, also known as something else, which is escaping me right now. Pretty sure it starts with a D. Sometimes my brain just short circuits. I believe that this is Dalmatian Peach. So I'm excited to see this color pop up, but these guys are ready to go in the ground as well. So as soon as we have time, these guys are all going to get planted out into the field. The peony patch is looking awesome. The fabric is now holding very well now that we've put a lot more sandbags over here. You can see there's some that are getting lots and lots of buds and shoots coming up, and some of them have already started greening up. So you can see that there's going to be some earlier bloomers, some later bloomers, but everybody looks pretty happy over here. Now this is where I've been spending the majority of my time lately, is cleaning up the perennial bed. We left a lot of things undone last winter because I figured I'd have more time in the spring, which I have, so I'm grateful that I did that. but everything that's supposed to be coming back is coming back and looking really happy. These guys are scabiosa. Got a beautiful row of thistle. The oregano aisle, I had to pull up the fabric because it's just spreading like crazy, and it was spreading underneath the fabric and it was grabbing onto the fabric. So I pulled the fabric off, and this row is already just full. So this is going to be quite abundant this year. We have struggled with delphinium. So we've got a few plants here that are coming up and doing very well, and a few more at the end of this row that are coming up. But a lot of the ones we planted last year didn't make it. So I've planted a whole bunch more. I'm going to try again for this season, but we do have a few plants that are looking happy. Our foxglove, on the other hand, is wild. It's so persistent. It's growing so well. And in fact, it's spreading into all of the other beds. I've found foxglove growing, like we had a sandbag sitting here, and there was foxglove growing all the way around it. I think this might still be some that didn't get pulled up. I think I saw one sitting in the middle, over the aisle over here. Any little patch of dirt, those seeds found it. See, this is a little foxglove baby. There's almost nothing here, but it managed to start growing. So those guys are doing really well. They're very happy. Our very small little tulip patch is looking great. I thought I went through and labeled all of these guys, but it looks like I just put tags down and didn't actually label them, so I don't actually know what varieties are which. But they're all coming up, they're all budding, they all look really good. I purposely chose tall varieties. It seems like the only variety that's getting very tall right now is this one here in the middle, which I'm guessing is the apricotta. We had that one last season. These guys are super short, so we'll see. These guys are short too. But over here we've got our phlox that we planted out last fall. Look how big they're getting. So they died back completely in the winter, and these guys just started budding up in the spring, and they look amazing. I'm very excited for these. This yarrow patch is looking so good, so lush. Like it's basically just carpeted. Well, that's clover. It's basically carpeted the entire ground, which is amazing. So don't have to worry as much about weeds in this patch, which is really nice. That's kind of the hope for most of the perennials, is that they all just sort of take over their patches so that I don't have to do quite so much weeding. So we're going to be putting our greenhouse right here, sort of next to the shrub patch. It's pretty open here, so it's not well protected at all, but this is flat and dry, and we've pretty much used all the rest of the flat, dry spots in this field. So we're gonna place this here today, and whether or not we finish that and have time to get to planting shrubs as well, we shall see and play it by ear. All right, so we're gonna lay out some landscape fabric to go underneath the greenhouse. We're not gonna be planting in this greenhouse. It's really just a shelter for our seedlings right now. We've got our measuring tape, blowtorch, some stakes. We're gonna roll everything out and get going on building the frame here. Greeley just showed up with a load of mulch for us today. I think we're getting mulch today. Oh, it looks like it's compost. Not mulch today. Mulch's coming on Monday. There we go. That's a steamy pile of mushrooms. Thanks, Greeley. so we've got the frame of the greenhouse up. So this is roughly 10 by 30 feet. It's the Vevor greenhouse. We've laid the fabric underneath. And what we're going to do now is we're going to actually add some 2x4 framing to this before we put the fabric on. We got this idea from Tiger864. I'll tag him in the video. It's a little technique that he used to try to strengthen up his greenhouse. So we're going to do that with these guys, put some 2x4s around the base and then frame out the doorways at the end. It'll just add some strength to the overall structure. Jason's going around putting some caps on the ends of the pipes, these guys, so that they don't catch on the fabric. So we went through, everything's nice and tight now. Again, it's not the most sturdy of greenhouses as far as greenhouses go, but it's inexpensive, and even with the lumber for the wood, it was pretty cheap. So we're hoping it lasts us at least a couple of seasons before we invest in something bigger and more expensive. Okay, so we've got the lumber out here. We're ready to go. No, we're not using pressure treated lumber. Don't come at us. Most of the wood's going to be covered, and it's going to be sort of inside the greenhouse, and it's also sitting on top of this fabric, so we're not super worried about it. So we're just going to build out the frame now and then put our fabric on. Okay, the greenhouse is up. Is it the prettiest greenhouse you've ever seen in your life? Nope, definitely not. Is it the most sturdy? Also no. Will it last the summer? I hope so. Let me give you guys a little tour of what we did. So obviously we have a big mess to clean up here. We'll start doing that. But we framed out the bottom, like I said, and then we went around with just strapping and nailed that to the sides to hold down the fabric to keep it tight. And it's a good thing we did too, because there's no actual ties on any of the sides. So they have ties in the corners here to tie the fabric to the frame, but there's no ties anywhere along the sides. So before we actually strapped it down, this was flapping all framed the door here, and we got a bunch of 2x4s left over because we got enough to do both doors, but for some reason this greenhouse only has one door, which is so strange because the shorter version of this last year has a door on both sides. So I don't love that, if I'm being honest. I do like being able to have a walk-through with two doors on my greenhouse. Okay, so then inside you can see we framed out with 2x4s on the inside. We couldn't attach right to here because we have the pipe going through, so we had to attach a second 2x4 to anchor this. And then we did screw in from the top through the fabric, so we have some duct tape that we put over those holes just to kind of help keep it watertight and make sure the holes don't rip or get larger. And then we staked in the edges to help keep it from flying away. So lots of ugly stuff in here, right? Lots of zip ties and lumber. It's not pretty, but it will be functional. And then we added these braces and literally duct taped them to the frame to add a little support here, because Vevor does give you a single brace for the back here and then another one for the front. You really should be getting them for every single joint here, but they don't give you that. So we just makeshift something, little 1x1s up there. And yeah, it's pretty windy out here right now, but it's working, it's holding. Jay and I just barely survived this build. I am so muddy right now. I am covered in mud head to toe. I'm pretty sure Jay blames me for wind today. I don't know how that's possible, but definitely it's my fault. He still loves me though, I think. And yeah, I only got a couple dirty looks, so I mean, not too bad, but I'm really happy with this. It's a little dirty in here. We've got some cleaning up to do, but I think this is going to serve us really well for the season. I really think it's going to hold up. I'm pretty happy with this. Oh my God, and it's so hot in here. Like instantly, as soon as we had the cover on, it was so hot. The sun's kind of gone down a bit, so it's cooled off a bit, and we opened up all the windows. But this is great. I'm really happy with this. Look at him over there admiring his work. Or he's contemplating how he got himself into this mess. You married me. So as suspected, my goals for today were a little too ambitious. So we got the greenhouse up and that was it. We did not get any of the planting done that I wanted to get done, but that's okay. I'm used to over planning my day. My phone died at the farm, so I'm actually in the same greenhouse that we have at the farm, but the one that's in our backyard right now, and you can see it's a little battered. So we put it up last summer, and at one point we had a big windstorm and this thing actually ended up on our neighbor's roof. Like, it was pretty bad, and we thought we had staked it down pretty good. This year we had another windstorm and this whole wall actually collapsed over completely. So Jason's gone through and he's staked it and got it back up, but you can see it's very bent and wonky. Like, it's not going to survive after this year. But we do have some seedlings in here that are happy and growing, so it's good enough for that for now. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.